This is New Orleans Square. It is Disneyland's elegant, expensive, relaxed, romantic, cosmopolitan land. Uh, New Orleans Square was the first land to open up um, while Disneyland was open. So Disneyland opened with 5 lands, and this was the first new addition. As you can see, it's a whole lot of pathway with all the attractions um, on one side of the pathway and a river on the other side of the pathway. So there's no entrance to New Orleans Square. It's the only land without an entrance, really. And if you want to get by, if you're rushing to rides from ride to ride, you will tend to stay up here and just walk by the guts of New Orleans Square, which is a cluster of shops and restaurants down here at the bottom. I'm going to put the name right there because that's probably a typical path that people use to get through New Orleans Square. And just to get you oriented, Main Street USA is over here to the right, and this is west of Frontierland and Adventureland. So if you turn right here, you get into Adventureland and out, and if you go up, it's Adventureland and up. And then out this way, if you continue up this pathway, past Haunted Mansion, you get up into Critter Country, and then Galaxy's Edge is even further. There's 2 rides or attractions in New Orleans Square, and they are at the 2 anchor points of the land. On this side, you've got Pirates of the Caribbean, and then over here you've got Haunted Mansion, as you can see. So again, if you're running from e-ticket ride to e-ticket ride, you're gonna skip the town. So that kind of keeps this town square kind of quaint. And so if you are in these streets, you kind of bypass a lot of the traffic. It's not like Adventureland where there's this heavy traffic running through your town all day long, or Main Street USA where it's like a freeway with shops on the side. This is a quiet corner. I have to say that it must have been funny to be a kid, and Disneyland had been open for 11 years, so maybe you're looking forward to going to Disneyland and you find out that they open up a brand new land and it's based on New Orleans. Let's go! So I think New Orleans must have been built for adults more than for kids, because this whole corner is shops, and the shops are nicer shops and the restaurants are nicer restaurants. I don't think you could get a hamburger in New Orleans Square, so I guess it's posh, and it's good that it has a posh corner, and this is it. The streets in New Orleans Square are set up like a W here, where there's 3 streets that come off, and there's 2 islands of buildings here and here, and kind of a peninsula of buildings on this side. This side over here is the bathrooms and the train station, which I guess I should call out here. This is technically one of the attractions in New Orleans Square, the railroad station, and it's a good one. And I also want to point out that the raft launch is here that goes to the island. So that's definitely within New Orleans Square, but of course the island is considered Frontierland, part of Frontierland. I'm going to talk about the restaurants first up here. They go right across the top. The tips of all these fingers, if you will, are restaurants. And before I get to that, I'm going to start with this. There is a little lounge area or private dining area called 21 Royal that's up here above the Pirates of the Caribbean. But I think that's like a $10,000 rented out for your bachelor party kind of place. I don't know anyone that's eaten there. And then the regular restaurants go along the top here. On this corner is the Royal Street Veranda. And then on the tip of this finger is Cafe Orleans, and at the top of this one is French Market. This is shown with red patio umbrellas here, but there's actually this really cool system of shade structure that has these long, thin blankets of shade that they can reel out and then reel back in again. I love them. I like shade structures. So that's at the French Market. And so if you're walking along this, you see people dining out at this restaurant and at this restaurant and at this restaurant. So it's just outdoor dining. So it's cool to see from this walkway. Besides the restaurants at the tips of these fingers here, there are also restaurants down here. The fancy one is the Blue Bayou restaurant. That restaurant is a table service restaurant, and you sit at a table that is indoors, but it looks like it's outdoors. It is the restaurant that your boat goes by when you're on the Pirates of the Caribbean. So if you see people dining on the right-hand side of your boat on the Pirates of the Caribbean, those people are eating at the Blue Bayou, and it is always evening at that restaurant. So you'll actually walk by Blue Bayou restaurant as you exit the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. So you exit here. And I think if Pirates didn't exit out here into the streets, there's a chance you would never go into the streets of New Orleans Square. Next up is a hidden restaurant called Club 33. It has an unmarked entrance over here, and it is upstairs. So Club 33 is the most exclusive place in Disneyland where you cannot make a reservation and you can't visit and you can't take a peek at it unless you're a member. And membership, I think, is $25,000 and has, in addition to the registration fee, there's also an annual $11,000 membership fee that you pay. And it was set up as a exclusive club for the original sponsors of Disneyland and additional sponsors. So people like executives at ABC probably have memberships to Club 33, and it's neat that such a place exists. I know it's on people's bucket list, and it's a treat. I've never been, but I know people that would love to go, and I know people that have gone. So that's Club 33. And one of the cool things about Club 33 is it's a restaurant that is upstairs in this building here. So the downstairs is shops and restaurants, and the Club 33 restaurant is upstairs. So you get great views all the way down, and it just seems really, really cool. And they also took over the top of the second floor of this building. So there's quite a bit of square footage to this restaurant, and it seems really neat. They're the people that get to walk through these little tunnels that are on the second floor. So in New Orleans Square, you'll walk underneath these tunnels, but you don't get to go up in them unless you're at Club 33. So that's something to look forward to if you can get there. The final restaurant is the Mint Julep Bar over here. They serve non-alcoholic mint juleps and beignets and maybe a couple of other things, but that is what they've got over there. In addition to all the restaurants in New Orleans Square, there are also a bunch of shops, and I'm going to talk about those now. Up here, when you first get into the street, you find Port Royal Curios and Curiosities there. That's a regular souvenir shop. And then Pieces of Eight is on the other side of the exit from Pirates of the Caribbean. So that has pirate souvenirs. Down here is the best pun in Disneyland, Le Bâton Rouge. It has a picture of a bat on the, like the flying kind of bat on the sign, and it's kind of a dress shop, really. It's nice. Um, I For this video, I looked up what Baton Rouge means, and it means a red bat, like the kind of bat you hit people with or you hit something with. So I'm not sure why Baton Rouge is named that at all. The center street has a trio of fancy stores. We've got Crystal d'Orleans, which has jewels and crystal. And then we've got Mademoiselle Antoinette's Parfumerie, which is like seems like a child's idea of what fancy is. And then over here we've got La Masquerade d'Orleans. I think they sell Pandora charms there and other charms. That store has sold a variety of different stuff through the years. I think they started off with masks, and I think in 2021 they're going to be back to masks. I would also like to talk about Disneyland Railroad here. This is a great place to get on the railroad because the trip up here, the next stop is all the way up in Toontown. So that's a long train ride, and you get to see the whole top of the rivers, and you go through, there's a lot to see on that trip. So that's, anywhere on the Disneyland Railroad is cool. Every leg of it is neat, but this is the neatest leg, and it's the longest leg of the trip. Again, that takes 15 minutes to go all the way around. Pirates of the Caribbean was originally designed as a walk-through exhibition where you would just take your time and walk through and look at dioramas like in a museum that showed animated pirates having fun and stealing and causing trouble and getting into trouble. And after the success of It's a Small World, when it opened in New York's World Fair, Walt Disney and everybody else realized that the way to get a crowd through a ride was in a boat. And people are happy to sit in a boat and be pushed along at a set speed. And you give them just enough time to look at stuff, and then they're on to the next exhibit. So they redesigned Pirates of the Caribbean to be full of water, and all the guests are in a boat, and it really shows a lot of people in the course of an hour, all the dioramas. It's obviously it's a great ride that's stood the test of time. Then up here we've got Haunted Mansion. My favorite fact about Haunted Mansion is that they built the building before they opened the ride. So for not 1 year or year and a half, but for 5 years, the building sat there and nobody knew what it was going to be. And it was just like, okay, so there's like a big plantation owner's house, a mansion on the side of New Orleans Square. Awesome. But then eventually they started advertising this is going to be the Haunted Mansion, and then maybe a year later it opened, and of course everyone loves it. That exhibit is also famous for its ride vehicles. They've got a never-ending stream of ride vehicles that you get into, and they control what direction the little doom buggy is facing. And so they control it all the way through, and at the end you walk off onto a moving sidewalk, and then you're just ushered right out of the ride. So that's a line eater as well. There is an open square here in New Orleans Square that just has a fountain and trees. So this is kind of a relaxing place. I think there's an ice cream stand that sets up shop over here somewhere. The last unique feature of New Orleans Square I want to talk about is that this pathway is in 3 levels. One is about at river level, and one is a few feet higher, and the third one is a few feet higher than that. So it's kind of like Coliseum seating to take in the show that is Phantasmic on this river at night. So it's a really cool 3-tiered walkway this way, and it is stadium seating for a show that goes on here, which I think is really clever. It's really well done, and you don't notice it until you need a place to sit and you can see the show. That's it for New Orleans Square. It is the perfect place to go if you need a fancy gift from Disneyland.